Welcome to Living from the Inside Out with Holly Wade. Living from the Inside Out is about living fully, guided from your inside. Holly shares the wisdom of how your mind, body, and spirit are truly connected and that you deep down know your own answers. Holly and her guests will provide tips, practices, and inspirational stories to help you approach your life from your own heart. And here's Holly.
Let's talk about stress, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about stress. Let's talk about stress. Hey, I am Holly Wade, and welcome to Living from the Inside Out. And clearly, I am not the best singer in the world, but I hope that you jammed out with me. And if you understand 90s music, you know exactly where that one came from, where the inspiration of that came from. So today's topic is stress. Why? Well, because stress is an everyday thing. And I've come to the conclusion that it's actually stress that is the number one killer. It's the number one thing that creates dis-ease, and probably the number one thing that, when you really think about it, negatively impacts our day-to-day lives for various reasons, for all kinds of reasons. And I don't think I need to go into that because you can probably relate. It's actually quite a topic to work with right now, because Americans are reporting that they are under more stress today than any other period in history. I would venture to guess that that could be other places in the globe as well. But this is my country of origin, and so this is what the data that I'm using for today. So let me talk about my friend Dawn Horrigan. She's a chiropractor. We went to high school together. And she says that misalignments of the spine come from three things, and that's stress, stress, and stress. So we have physical stress, and that comes from something like a fall or an injury, can also stem from being malnourished. Your cells can't function quite right because they don't have what they need. So that's physical stress. The second is environmental stress, and that's like when your body would be taxed by toxins that can be chemical or nutritional again. So an overabundance of a certain nutrient. Can also be clutter in your space. There's some research to indicate that a lot of things in your space create more distress, create more anxiety. There's a direct link there. And the third thing to create stress is emotional. That's the third reason that they will find stress in the body, misalignment in the body, is emotional stress. And it's actually about 80% of what we carry in our bodies. I'm going to talk more about that next week, so stay tuned and come back. But think about this. You literally wear your life in your body. Consider this for a second. How are your relationships? What's going on at work? What pressure are you putting on yourself to be superhuman? What are those outer pressures, like finances or whatever the case may be? See what I'm talking about? That's emotional stress. So let's actually talk about what happens in the body when you are stressed. Stress gets a bad rap because we all know what that feels like. And admittedly, I realized a few years ago that at some point in my life, I became addicted to stress. And I know it started in high school. Walk in the school building. Oh, how are you today? Oh, I'm so stressed. And so I would create that inside of me. And I know I carried that through college. I know I carried that early in my career. And it took a long time to unlearn how to be stressed, how to learn to relax. See, now here's the thing. Some stress is actually good for us. That's called eustress. So that is one end of the spectrum. And you can think about that like when you feel butterflies before giving a big presentation. Maybe if you were an athlete, you felt that pre-game. It's the kind of stress that grows you, where you grow a little resilience, you problem solve, you see it as a challenge, and you move through that. And then you're like, hey, I can knock that out. Sweet. However, most of us are on the other end of the spectrum, and we experience distress. So that's what I really want to talk about today, because you know what that is. You know what that feels like. So let's talk about what stress really is. In its most basic of forms, it's a physiological response. When your body or your life are in danger, you go into fight, flight, or freeze mode so that your life is spared. That's how it works. So in a normal state, your body, that stress response is useful. It's literally saving your or someone else's life. So let's just talk through this. An emergency situation comes up. I had one of these a couple weeks ago. A dog in our neighborhood jumped its fence and went after my little cockapoo. So let me tell you, my stress response hit high gear. This is what happens. Your body picks up on that threat. So I picked up on the dog chasing mine, like right on his tail. And you instantly go into saving life mode. All right, here's what happens. Are you ready? Your amygdala, so that's the emotional center of your brain, is going to pick up on this danger. That immediately sends a signal to your hypothalamus, and that turns on your sympathetic nervous system to put you in fight, flight, or freeze mode. So here's my science nerd coming out for you. So when that happens, your cortisol levels increase, and that creates an inflammatory response. Now, inflammation in small doses is useful. Hang with me. So the chemistry in your body changes. Your adrenaline amps up thanks to your pituitary gland. That is the master gland at the front lobe of your brain, and that's going to regulate all these systems in your body. It initiates the thyroid to produce thyroxine, and that's the chemical that increases the metabolic rate, raises your blood sugar levels, and makes things happen. Now, here's the thing. So this boost from thyroxine uses up nutrients too quickly, and your body will go into depletion by overusing B vitamins. Those are what give you energy, and releasing too much magnesium. So magnesium actually calms you down. Now, interestingly, those are two deficiencies that are pretty common in our modern world. Think there's a correlation? Now, as all of that happens, your hip muscle called the psoas is going to kick into gear to make you run. Your heart rate, I'm making up words. Your heart rate races, and blood flow moves to your muscles so that they continue to kick into gear, helping you to fight or flee. So what that means is your blood flow is going from your organs to the muscles. That's most important at the time. That's how intelligent our bodies are. It knows how to prioritize. All right, we need blood flow to the muscles so that they can amp into gear and go, right? So your eyes dilate, your palms clench, and you get sweaty, your jaw clenches, your forehead starts to sweat, your breathing gets shallow. This is all what happens just in a matter of just that to get you into gear to fight, flight, or freeze. So let's switch gears. This is kind of funny. Now, when you're in freeze, like if you're in a haunted house or something like that, when you go into freeze, think about how you can hear your heartbeat and you're like, oh Lord, please don't let them hear it. That's your stress response going into high gear right there. So all of this kicks into gear in your body. You respond to the situation without giving it a second thought. Like you don't even think about it. You just go, you focus, you know what you have to do, and you do it. And then it's over. And that rush of chemicals have to normalize. That's the letdown. And that blood flow redistributes back to your digestive system. So that's why some people feel nauseous after an emergency or during. Like you get done and, lose your cookies. That's why. It's that change of blood flow. You might feel chilled as that rush of blood flow redistributes. You probably feel wiped out. Like all of a sudden you're just drained, like you have nothing left in you. Sometimes you shake or can't quite stop. Like you just can't quite amp down after experiencing something that close. And you might even just break down and just go into these tears as part of that release. And as that sense of relief kind of washes over you and you realize that, holy cow, what just actually happened here? When that happens, let those tears flow. Pretty interesting stuff, isn't it? There's your physiology lesson for the day. So this is how it works. That stress is a built-in response to help you through life-threatening situations. And it calms back down when it's over, bringing you to homeostasis. That's that level of normal or balance in your body. And that state of homeostasis should be a longer period of ease or normalcy than those periods of stress. But in our modern world, somehow we flipped that. So we're under distress more than we're not. See, this is what happens in our modern day-to-day. Our brain and body can't distinguish between real threats and these perceived stressors. So let's just kind of imagine an ordinary day. You're running late for work and you hit a stoplight. Boom, there's a threat. Actually, I had one just a little bit ago. I was trying to find my notes for the show. I'd written this a week ago. I was trying to find my notes for the show and couldn't find them. So I started jotting some down because there's a time crunch. I'm like, oh man, I know this one. I can talk it out really easily, but I still wanted my notes. So I was jotting it out. And then I had one more like, ooh, let's look at one more place. Threat. Let me tell you, my heart rate was racing. My shoulders were getting tense. There's real life for you. See, even I experience stress. So moving on, you get to work, you have an unexpected meeting that kind of throws your whole day off because you're already working on another project under a deadline. Threat. You don't know how you're going to get your kids to all of the activities today, even though you've mapped out possibilities. Threat. You don't want to ask for help, which might help you in the long run and create a little ease in your life because they're your kids and you feel like that's your responsibility. So it's a little bit of guilt, internalized emotion, threat. You worry about what other people think. Threat. You get shot down when you propose a solution at work. Threat. You see and know the pressure of having to do twice as much as the men in your office to get the same recognition. Threat. You go home after work and the kids have mountains of homework to get done. You still have to get dinner, which you haven't even planned out because who has time for that? And you still need to work on that one project from work. You brought some of that work home. Threat. You need to deal with a relationship that's crumbling, but you don't even know where to begin to have that conversation. Threat. You keep that mask of, I've got it all together on the outside, while the world inside is crumbling. Threat. Your finances are a wreck and you don't have the energy to take on another stream of income. Threat. You're at a job that you don't enjoy and you see no way out. Pays the bills. Threat. Now think about how all those little things add up in a day. Those are still little shots of stress, and they still bring on that same response, that whole response that I just talked about. And they're happening throughout your day. So your body is continually in that same fight, flight, or freeze response, even from those little things, as it would be if something were chasing you and threatening your life. So you really get into the space of knowing what that feels like, and you don't really know what it feels like to be in homeostasis, to be at a state of ease. How's that sinking in? So what are some signs that you are in distress? Here are some things that might tell you if your body is in distress. You can't lose weight, even though you're doing a strict diet and exercise plan. And the basis of that is the cortisol in your body. Those cortisol levels are constantly amped up. Your metabolism's overrunning. Your adrenaline is shot. And when you're malnourished, because think about it, that vitamin B and magnesium, when you're malnourished, then it impacts other things. It's creating more stress in your body. Brittle nails and hair, that's signs of malnourishment. Dull skin, dark circles under the eyes, inconsistent bowel movements, constant tension somewhere in your body. But most generally, it's in neck and shoulders, low back, hips, or headaches. But it can be anywhere. It can be in your gut. You might have digestive issues. It can be kidneys. Think about it. That's where those adrenals sit. So it can really be anywhere in your body. You're thirsty no matter how much water you're drinking. No matter how much sleep you get, you don't feel rested. Or you're on the other end and you have insomnia. Maybe you feel exhaustion to the point that you can hardly put one foot in front of the other. No matter how much sleep you get, no matter how much food you're eating, no matter what you do. You're more prone to injuries or accidents. Maybe exhaustion doesn't even begin to describe how you actually feel, like you just want to burst into tears at any moment. You might feel like you're losing your mind, because you kind of are, trying to do too many things and Maybe you're sick a lot because your body's run down and your immune system is continually compromised. See, these are just some of the signs that your body is trying to tell you and get your attention that you are heading straight down the road to dis-ease if you don't pay attention and start to turn that ship around. So like I said earlier, think about this. The root cause of any disease, like heart disease, autoimmunes, cancer, is always stress. Physical, environmental, or emotional. So enough of the bad news, because the good news is that you can turn it around. So if you know that you are going downward into this downward spiral, you can start to implement some things and turn that back around and help your body become more calm. Help your mind become more calm. So let's talk about why and how. Here's the thing that I know for sure. Your body will always tell you the truth. You just have to learn to listen to it. That's it. So all of the meditation or yoga in the world is a way to relieve stress, but it doesn't always fully release stress. It can help give you tools to calm your body back down. But until you're willing to deal with the actual issue and learn to embrace life as it is right here, right now, and just truly let go, you won't bring your body back into balance. There's a little deeper layer that you just got to deal with it. And it's a heck of a lot easier to deal with that pain short term because it's temporary when you deal with it. And if you don't deal with it, it's going to be a long-term pain. So would you rather just go in there, go into the wound and pull that Band-Aid off? Or would you rather let it continue to fester and get to a point where maybe it's harder to turn that ship around? So let's talk about solutions. Let's switch gears and let's talk about some solutions. I really approach things from a holistic standpoint. So we're going to give you some physical, mental, environmental, and spiritual solutions. All right, here we go. So physical, let's talk about the physical body. What can you start to do to help your body function and be a little more at ease? So one is to support your body nutritionally. When you give your body what it needs, it's going to do exactly what it's supposed to do. Your cells can function, they can work together. Those chemical responses, those chemical reactions in the body are like perfect. They're in like this domino effect. Everything is aligned and responding and reacting like it's supposed to. And when it does that, when you do get sick, it'll be shorter in duration and your recovery is going to be so much quicker. The second one is to make sure that you get sleep. So when your body says it needs rest, give yourself permission to rest. Sleep is when your body repairs itself. I actually had I had someone post on Facebook that they actually they felt guilty about going to sleep at night because there was so much more they could get done. Seems like a waste of time. And my goodness, my heart just dropped and kind of broke. And at one point in time, I probably related to that. What I understand now is that it's when you're sleeping and resting that your body can repair. That sleep, it's called beauty sleep for a reason. It's necessary. Your body needs it. You have worked and you have pushed all day. Your body and your mind deserve a break, even though your mind still works when you're sleeping. Okay, so the third, so nutrition, sleep, and move your body. So, and I'm not talking go run on a treadmill. I'm talking just move, get up and move. When you sit, that pent-up energy literally gets stuck inside of you. So get up and move, walk, stretch, dance. That's my favorite. Do some yoga, whatever it is that you enjoy. So this is the thing that I like about moving my body and really paying attention to what's going on. When I move it, that's when I can be like, oh, hip, why are you so stuck? What's going on here? That's when I can start to pay attention to how my body actually feels. So some days I may notice some areas that are sore and kind of be like, okay, what have I been doing to create that? What do I need? Do I need some magnesium? Do I need to drink more water? What's going on here? And when you become aware of that tension in your body, you can do those things as a response. Have I been sitting at the desk too long? Maybe I need to get up and stretch. Have I just been doing too much? All right, maybe I need to back off today. So that second area where you can start to create balance in your body or work toward that is with your mind. So we do that by actually tending to our emotions. See, whatever we don't express, we repress somewhere in our bodies. Our body will actually store emotion in the tissues because your central nervous system is pulling all those things in. It's absorbing it. It has since you were in the womb. Emotion literally means energy in motion. And if you don't express it, you're repressing it. Remember that. If you don't express it, you're repressing it or suppressing it, whichever way you'd rather think of it. So you may need to seek some additional help here so that you learn how to release emotions in a healthy way. Because we live in a society where we're not supposed to show emotion. Oh. And it's because we don't want to make other people feel bad. Don't worry about me. Or we go the other way and we're a little overly emotional. So a few things that help me. I'm a big fan of dancing because it's so expressive. Like, you don't have to do choreography. Just turn on some music and dance. The purest form of dance, the way it was intended to be around that fire when they were playing drums and instruments, like just pure from inside of you, moving your body, dancing. It's a really healthy way to get those emotions out and unstuck. The second is to invest in a boxing bag, and I'm not joking. Like, this was honestly one of my best therapy sessions ever. I broke up with a guy and was struggling with that. And where I worked had boxing bags in the studio. And I went in after hours, pulled out the boxing bags and turned on my music and just went after it. Kicked, hit, screamed, stomped, had the ugly cry, did it all again. But I tell you what, I got that rage out. And if you need to, you can even tape a picture of someone up on that bag and just have at it. Just get that energy out of you and be done with it. Maybe if neither of those sound like something that's for you, set up a big board and get a bucket of baseballs and just throw them as hard as you can at that board. It doesn't matter. Just find a way to get that pent up anger and frustration out of your body. Let yourself have a really, really good cry, that ugly, curled up in a ball kind of cry. Get it out. And laugh as much as possible. Tend to those emotions. The second one for the mind is to let yourself be bored. We are so overstimulated and addicted to social media, to our electronics, and they're set up to be that way. We also tend to be in the dis-ease of busy. So let yourself get bored and be okay with detoxing from busyness. Journaling is a tool that I use because it gives me a way to get those thoughts out of my mind and just give them a place to go. That way they're not literally churning inside of me. I know some people get really self-conscious about journaling. It's kind of like, well, if I do that, then it's going to be permanent. No, it's not. That journal is yours. Just get the thoughts out. Who cares? When that journal's full, go burn it. Let it all go, literally. So for your mind, for your mental state and well-being, tend to your emotions and let yourself be bored. Let that brain turn off. So the third area is environment. So pay attention to the cleaners you're using in your house, the makeup that's going on your skin, because all those things get absorbed into your body. And over time, they can take a toll on your body. Use plants in your home to clean the air. I like to diffuse essential oils to keep the air pure. to just kind of assist my body. But be careful about what you purchase, because it's not just about covering up an odor. You really want the plant. You want that oil from the plant. You want the purest oil as you can get, because that's what's going to kill those microorganisms, those things that can be harmful to the body, those things that are airborne. That's what you want. You don't want something that is just chemical based. You're not going to get those same effects, the same qualities. And the fourth one for your environment is to clean out the clutter. Your physical space affects your inner world. There's actually some research that came out just this last week. I read it on Scary Mommy, and that clutter creates anxiety. I can't remember who did that research, but anyway, there's fact behind it. There's science behind it. So set your timer for 15 minutes. Clear out a corner, clear out a drawer, get rid of the stuff that you don't need, and start to try to make things tidy. Think about your office space as well as your home, because your office space is where you spend the bulk of your day. And make your bedroom a sanctuary. Don't let your bedroom get cluttered, because you'll rest better when your bedroom is tended to. Cool? All right, so the last area to start to build ease in your entire being, mind, body, and spirit, is the spirit. So kind of along with letting yourself be bored, give yourself a detox from the digital world. Go get out in nature, play, explore, open your senses. As much as you think people notice you on social media, yeah, they do, and they don't. People aren't as interested in our lives as you're in our own lives as we like to think they are. And that's actually kind of a relief when you think about it. And those people will be there. They'll be on social media when you go back. No, they're not going anywhere. Those electronic devices, like I said a little bit ago, they're designed to be addictive. So learn to control them rather than letting them control you. Big one. Think about all the time you're going to get back just by limiting your social media time, limiting your computer time. Think about what that does for your family or your loved ones that you're actually with and spending time with outside of work. Think about what that opens up for you to do. Get to that yoga class or pull up a yoga app or something like that so you can do something else for your body. Electronics are great tools, and we have to be the ones to dictate to them rather than to react. The second one is meditation. And I would encourage you not just to use this practice to calm down, but to use it as an opportunity to practice listening. Start by just listening to your breath. Listen to your body. Listen for your soul's guidance. It's right there. It's right in that space between your heart and your belly. Get to know that still small voice within you. And you do that by practicing and learning what it sounds like, so that when you're out in the day-to-day and that busy hubbub, when that voice speaks, you know, got you, I got you, and you know how to respond. But it doesn't come if we don't practice. Make sense? So let's just try a little body scan and see where you're holding stress in your body today. So this is just going to be stress relief. It won't be a release quite yet today, but I do want to show you how you can use the tool of relaxation and teach yourself this skill, because it is a skill. And this is what's so interesting, because we want to push through. Like we want to find answers and we'll do more, we'll push. The interesting thing, though, is that it comes the other way. It comes when we relax. That's when we find our answers. Not when we're going and doing and being busy and it's when we calm down, when we pull back and just observe and wait. The answer comes. So get really comfortable. If you're driving, I wouldn't recommend doing this right now, just saying. But find a place where you can be comfortable. Doesn't matter if you're seated, doesn't matter if you're lying down, but in a place where you can allow yourself to fully relax. And once you're in that position, doesn't matter where your hands are, don't get all caught up in, am I in the right posture? Don't get caught up in that. Just let yourself be. Close your eyes and let's take you out of your head and get you into your body. So just drop down and feel your belly expanding and pulling back with each inhale and exhale. Actually feel what it feels like for your lungs to expand and for your rib cage to open up and for your diaphragm, that muscle at the base of your ribs that runs horizontally through the body as it presses down. That's your main breathing muscle. Now just let your toes relax. Let your lower leg relax. Allow your thighs to relax. Let your hips open up. Allow the lower part of your pelvis to be soft. Let the rest of your belly soften and just gently rise and fall with your breath. Notice how when your chest opens up, your shoulders drop back and down, and your heart actually lifts up. Notice the space between your ears and shoulders, and see if you can lengthen out through the neck. Let your head drop back just a little bit. Notice if you're clenching your jaw, and if you are, just separate your back teeth. Let your jaw relax. Let your fingertips curl just a little bit so your palms are soft. Now with your breath, as you inhale, almost feel your body kind of rise from your toes all the way to your head. And as you exhale, notice your body sink from your head to your toes. And notice this feeling of relaxation, of ease. Start to let yourself become really comfortable with this feeling of relaxation and ease and softness. Go ahead and just take a couple more breaths. Enjoy that. Enjoy that space that you're giving yourself in your body and in your life right now. Just that little bit of space. And whenever you're ready, start to blink the eyes open, wiggle, stretch, reach, move, and let yourself gently wake back up. How are you feeling? See, that little exercise that we just did was 3.5 minutes. You have 3.5 minutes to calm your body down. Just go to your breath. If you're at a stoplight, tune to your breath. Driving in heavy traffic, tune to your breath. Actually teach your body how to switch that mode, and it's actually just through deep breathing. Standing in lines during the holiday season, deep breathing. You've got that tool anywhere. So if this topic is speaking to you, email me at holly@hollywadewellness.com, because I'm starting a program in January. And if you're interested in knowing more about it, email me. If there's something that just really spoke to you on today's episode, please let me know. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear what resonates with you and how I can help you and how I can bring more of this into this radio program to serve you. So if you have any questions or comments, please contact me. Again, my email is holly@hollywadewellness.com, and it's also in today's show notes. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Next week, I'll be adding a layer onto this and building off of this topic, and we're going to be talking about that mind-body connection. So what is your body telling you? What does that tension in your body mean? Cool? Thanks for joining today. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you again next week.
Thank you for joining us at Living from the Inside Out. Listen every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. To connect with Holly, just go to www.globalvoiceradio.com. Global Voice Radio is where your voice and your message is heard.